vultures are genuinely circling. It's Monday morning. I'm not in the yard. I'm at the Central London Penthouse Project, where we are moving at pace. In the living room, we're almost completely boarded up. We have to stop around the bifolds, which are not going to be here for the next 3 weeks, but we are going to plaster the ceiling area. The first fix is completely done, and on the floor you saw a few weeks back, I was telling you about the build-up in the hallway, living room and bedrooms. Well, we have done one part of that. We have 2x2 and then ton and groove chipboard. On top of this, we are going to have the floating floor. We're going to have underlay, then we're going to have an underfloor heating mat, and then the engineered wood flooring. The area you can see behind me with the pink plasterboard, this is where the fireplace is going to go. In the kitchen, we have also built up the floor level with the 2x2 and the ton and groove chipboard. But there is a different build up in here, which is also different from the bathroom build up, which I showed you a few weeks back. On top of this ton and groove chipboard, we're going to put down the jacker board. We're then going to have underfloor heating, self-leveling compound, and then adhesive and tiles. Now, the ceiling is ready for plastering. We're not quite sure how we're going to sequence the works. If we do the floor first, we're then going to have to cover the floor and then plaster. But if we plaster the ceiling first, then we're not going to have to cover the floor, but it all depends on resource and how quickly we can get it done. The kitchen is in production and should be with us in 2 weeks, which will time perfectly with the work we're doing. And if you look on the floor here, we're about to start doing all of the door frames in preparation for the doors, which will be here in 2 weeks. In the bathroom, these are the tiles you saw us struggling to carry up the stairs without damaging a couple of weeks back. You can see we also managed to cut them perfectly and fit them in place on this wall. On the other wall is the 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter tiles. They are within the niche of the shower storage area, and you can see the way they are fitted around the vanity unit. Now, when we go into the other bathroom, I'm going to show you the way that we need to fit the vanity unit so that when the tiles do go onto the wall, it finishes flush. The outside rim of this is actually lit, so when we put everything together, this is going to look fantastic. All the work you saw in the past with the wall hung toilet frame is now boxed in, and the floor looks like it's play, but in fact the floor has also been tiled, and we've covered it over just in case we drop any tools. We do not want to damage it. On the ceiling, you may wonder why there is a small gap between the moisture resistant plasterboard and our tiles. That's because we have a second skin going in, and we've measured it perfectly. That will just slot in place. This is the other bathroom. Have a look on the wall here at the vanity unit. You can understand what I was talking about in the previous bathroom, what we need to do to ensure that the tiles will finish flush. Now, this wall is very interesting because it's not straight. Now, we have taken into account the size of the tiles, and 3 full tiles fit on this wall. One here, and one here. So there is no room whatsoever for error. Once the huge tiles are on this wall, which will be on 3 sides, 1, 2, free, it should look fantastic. We have a different tile, which is the 1.2 by 1.2 on this wall and on the floor. Bedroom number 1 is completely plastered. We need to do door frames, build up the level of the floor. We are just preparing the windows for decoration. Now, these windows are only being refurbished. We are not fitting new. And on the ceiling here, you can see the trimless spotlights, which I've been going on about for months. Looking great. In the other bedroom, we need door frames, floor build up, and we are plastering at the moment. We stopped the plastering at this point because we do not have the bifold doors in place yet. And by the end of tomorrow, this bedroom's progress will be the same as the other one you just saw. Last but not least, in the utility. Stay with me now. I'm going to need to explain the connections on this water cylinder. Up here, we have a T connection. This is the 28mm feed which came to the utility. It's reduced to 22. This 22mm comes to here, and we have a T which takes a supply down to the washing machine. To here, we have a reducer valve, but this reduces the pressure, not the size of the pipe. As we come down to here, we have a non-return valve, which is an emergency valve. You can see that this then connects to the water cylinder. This is another emergency valve. Now, this is not the supply to the water cylinder. This is if there is a problem with the water cylinder, the water which is pushed back through here. As we have a non-return, this water will not go back into the system. The water will come down here, and then we'll actually see the water here if there is a problem, and that water will go to the waste. This waste, you can see another connection. If you follow that back up and go all the way around, that is the condensation overflow for the air conditioning unit. If you look here, underneath this emergency non-return valve, this is the supply which is going into the water cylinder at the bottom. So we're feeding the water cylinder. And this up here, this is the supply of the water once the water cylinder has heated it, taking it to the rest of the apartment. Site meeting done. I'm heading back to the yard. But in my absence, of course, the work will continue. The first door frame to install is the one for the kitchen. We've bought door lining, which is prepared timber, 145mm wide, 28mm thick, and 2.1 meters long. All the door openings in the apartment are slightly different, so we need to cut the prepared timber door lining to size. For the kitchen, it's 110mm wide and 2040mm high. We cut the 3 sides and then assemble by drilling to countersink first, which means that when we do screw it together with the 70mm timber screws, they'll sit flush and not protrude. To keep the frame rigid, we fit timber supports and then slot into place. We use packers to build up the gaps between the opening and the frame, and then screw through the packers or close to them with 70mm timber screws into the wall. The gaps left between the packers are filled with expanding foam, and in 24 hours, the timber supports can be removed and expanding foam cut away. This is the Heathrow fuel train. There are 3 of these per day, which only accounts for 20% of the 22 million litres required each day. It's a bit like Mad Max Thunderdome, in that there's only one way in and one way out by rail to Heathrow, which is why it was so important for us to be able to have the runaround feature on our new rail line to ensure that we limit the time spent manoeuvring out on the main network, so we never block or delay this or any other services. got a little problem with the secondary entrance. The fence post dropped. And now the gate is not lining up properly, so it either won't close, or when it does close, you can't open it. In order to fix this, we're going to have to excavate the area down here. We're going to have to prop the post up. We already put an acro there. Or we're going to have to get a machine over and push it. Then we're going to have to pour as much concrete as we can. And in between the concrete sleeper and the concrete that's there for the post, we're probably going to have to put some rebar or put something pushing the fence that way. But we can't go out on the main line and do the work. So we're probably going to remove 3 panels here so we can just reach through and dig an area at the back. So when we pour, we get as much concrete as possible. Then we'll be able to somewhat line up the gate so we have an easy opening and closing.
Down is 1 centimeter, and up it's 5. Lovely. Yeah. That's well done, George. Yeah.
Cleaning of the track is going extremely well. The lads are doing a fantastic job. And at the moment, it is not raining and the sun is shining. We got a machine down earlier to take off the main bits of muck, but we didn't go too close to the railway line because we don't want to catch it. So now we're taking off the bigger bits. The lads are using shovels and finishing off. Nice. A new possible construction project has popped up, which we are going to be pricing, and asked a very important question which can determine if the price is going to change significantly. Is this going to be a full design and build where we are going to handle the entire process, as in designing, doing all the structural calculations, and within reason, if there are any issues, it's down to us, and we can value engineer where we see fit as long as we deliver the project as agreed? Or does the client have their own set of consultants, i.e. architect, a structural engineer, project manager, QS? Do we have counterparts on another side of a table which are going to be trying to manage us the entire time? Now, the reason this can change your job significantly is because it increases the paperwork and communication and administration. And in my opinion, for a project of this size, doesn't really provide the client with any value. I get it, people are worried, they've had nightmares in the past, so they want to manage the contractors. But if you're going to choose a contractor whose track record you've checked and you've been to see their previous project and all their references checked out, then I believe you should allow that contractor to do it as a design and build. It's going to save you money because the entire time they're not going to be wrestling with a consultant team on the other side. So this project does have an entire team. However, they said once we've priced the job, they would look at us taking it on board as a full design and build, where we just submit information to them and any questions we have, we ask them directly. A very important question, which can, depending on the size of the job, can change the price by hundreds of thousands of pounds on some projects. I know on government infrastructure projects like HS2, of course, you need a lot of consultants, as I said a couple of weeks back, especially when there's government spending which needs to be monitored. But in these residential cases of one-off dwellings, I don't believe you need to. And have a look at the front. I see that we're still washing the lorries, trying to keep them nice and clean for any potential buyers. We've prepared for concrete. We pushed the posts further back with the acros, and we have adjusted the gate so now it's spot on. It's too cold at the moment for us to pour any concrete. At points it's been -2. So tomorrow morning when we get in, we're going to load up one of the volleys and we're going to pour a couple of wheelbarrows out. We're going to pack the area with as much C50 as we can. We're going to let it dry a bit, and then we're going to cover it so the frost doesn't impact its potential strength. Oof. It's a very cold day for it, but very productive in the yard. And that is it for Monday. It's Tuesday morning and we're in the yard and we have begun concreting around the post. The vultures are genuinely circling. There's people within the industry, friends, who have, in the last couple of weeks, months, been acting, doing things which are not in our interest, which I knew about, but I just didn't mention because I just wanted it all to play out, who are now calling me because they're a bit stuck. I know they've already decided what they're doing, and today they're calling me to see how I am and just to let me know a couple of things which have happened, but they never intended to do it, but somebody approached them. Well, I know that isn't true, but it's not life and death, and I get it, it's business. But where I draw the line is when people call me and say,
they didn't know, somebody approached them, what do I think they should do?
And they more or less want me to say it's all right to do what they're doing when they've done it anyway, because they say, what was the words? I don't want you to feel like I shafted you, but you already have. So it is what it is. You know, everyone needs to do what's best for them. So when you're in a time like this and people don't know the full picture and what you actually intend on doing, and they think that you are at your most vulnerable, that is the time when they step in and do what's best for them. But I guess that's life. Not only do the vultures circle, they want to wait and pick the bones. They want to stay there and take every bit of meat off the bone. That's what they want to do, but they want you to tell them that they're not doing that and make it okay so they don't feel like a vulture when they're doing it. But it is what it is. You live and you learn. And next time, you know not to make the same mistakes and how to approach it. But I did, in the back of my mind and deep down, always know that when you're up against it, that's when you are really going to see who is on side and who is not. Anyway, we've dressed the lorries nicely. Every single one of them is nice and clean. But when the boys were cleaning, they noticed a few very slow punctures. When the lorries do leave, we want them to be in the best possible condition, roadworthy and safe. So the tyre team are in again, and we're going to repair any punctures on any of the lorries which are going, and any of our stock, we're also going to repair those and make sure that we've got tyres built on rims in the event that we do run lorries again at some point. A very good friend of mine gave me a call, and he said,
How are you, Daniel?
bearing in mind what's happened in the past few months, bearing in mind the video that came out on Wednesday. Click here to watch that video. And I said, yeah, man, I'm all right. I'm here. I'm living. I'm breathing. I'm still fighting. And he said, yeah.
But how are you? How do you feel?
I was like, I mean, I've been better. But, you know, like, as I said, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still pushing. There are opportunities. And he asked me again.
How do you feel knowing that, like, everybody, like, knows, you know, your struggles, etc.? And
I thought about it when he said it, and I was like, so are you asking me if I'm embarrassed? Is that what you're asking me? Like, if I feel shame? And
well, no. But yes.
It obviously isn't ideal, but people have their own lives to get on with. Yes, people may watch, but people have their own challenges and own struggles. And yes, people have said negative things. Some people have said positive things, but that's just life. And ultimately, it's down to me because I put it out there. But to answer the question, no, I don't feel embarrassed. I have done many things in my life which have worked and been successful, and I have done things which haven't worked out. I've done things which have worked for a period of time, but everything runs its course. And I don't believe that if you do something and it doesn't work out, I don't believe that defines you. What defines you is the action you take afterwards. Legacy isn't grown in the shallow end of the swimming pool. If you don't push to the limit, how do you know what the limit is? And if those things don't happen, you don't have the experience to know how to react in the future. Because of what I've been through in the last 12 months, I'm a completely different person. And if I'm faced with another situation similar, I know exactly how I'm going to deal with it, and I know the signs to look for. And that goes across the board. It's not just about the numbers. It's about the people around me. It's about my reactions to the market. At least I tried. I would regret it more if I didn't try anything at all and sat there and thought I could have done this and I could have done that. Then I regret making a go of something and it going well for a long period of time, then stopping it and having the experience and learning. Because no matter what happens, you can't take the experience away from me. It's mine forever. I've learned it, and that is what is now on my CV, and it's all up here. And that's enough. Moving back onto the Central London Penthouse, where we are going to be preparing for plaster. Now, I explained this last week. We have two sets of walls in the property. We have ones which we've just boarded, and we'll tape them and put PVA to prepare for plastering. And we have others which are old walls which have been painted in the past. Now, if you plaster straight onto a painted wall, it could flake and peel off in the future. So on those walls, to improve the adhesion of the pending plaster, we are going to apply a blue grit solution, which helps the plaster stick to it. We are going to do this in one of the bedrooms and in the hallway, some of the intricate spaces. We're going to use a paintbrush to get into the tight areas and the corners, and then use a roller for the flatter surfaces.
stick that over there now. Okay.
What's happening, George? It's Wednesday, and we're in the yard. And this is Terry's restoration project. It's been parked up in the yard for a while, and now we are towing it out to the front because Terry's gonna get it taken away and start with a service, and then it's gonna be fully refurbed. And Terry's gonna drop the top and drive up and down on Harlesden High Road, flexing.
Blast it off. Brakes.
Don't worry, Tel, it's not going. What do you think it's going to happen? What is he going to do? Get on the M25 and just leave by itself? I think it will be all right.
We're going to change the timing belt, the filters, spark plugs, leads. Hopefully try and get it towards MOT standard. I bought indicators for it. And then it's going to go for a respray.
Right.
And then after the respray, it's going to get the roof lining done.
What colour is it going to be?
Same colour. Keep it original. But it's not going to be a quick project.
The council have just got back to us on the planning permission for the pool house at the refurbishment project. And for some reason, unbeknown to me, they have rejected it. Now, I know that they haven't rejected it due to objections from the local residents, because there was a local residents meeting who all said they were happy with it, and they would in fact go for planning permission as well right away if ours was approved. Now, they gave an explanation of overdevelopment. I guess maybe because the footprint was slightly larger, but there was no specificity. So if we are told overdevelopment at 10%, at 20%, we can then shrink it down. I need to get in contact with the planning officer. But what would have been a lot better is if the council communicated with us. We've dealt with a lot of councils, Camden, Hammersmith and Fulham, Haringey, Westminster, and generally the planning officers will call you and they'll say,
look, we're not going to accept X, but we don't want a record of a rejection. Why don't you amend and resubmit what would be favourable in our eyes so we can work together?
In this instance, they just rejected it. And then they didn't give any guidance, so we don't even really know what our new application should entail, so it doesn't just get rejected again right away. So we're going for a different approach. We are going to shrink down the size of it a little bit, and then we're going to try to arrange a pre-app, which is basically where we're going to ask for informal advice. Now, they can't be held to this later, but generally when you receive the informal pre-application advice from the council, it is something that you can work from. So very disappointing, another little stumbling block, but the key is to have a plan and to keep going and pushing until you get what you want or something close to what you want. And now we're heading back into central London for more work. In the bathroom, we use tile adhesive to fill the fixing screws and washers in the jacket board to create a smooth surface for the next layers. We apply liquid tanking to the shower area to create a waterproof barrier and then move on to the niche in front of the bath. Now, this is not an area directly exposed to water in the same way as the shower, but it is somewhere where water could sit and over time seep through. So as a precautionary measure, we tank for protection. This is carried out in the same way as the shower. We apply a primer, liquid membrane, jointing tape to corners and seams to reinforce, and finish with more liquid membrane. On the side of the bath, Chris is creating a frame from 2x2 timber, which will fit the bath panel to on completion. The panel will be made from 2 tiles backed with jacket board and be siliconed into place to ensure we have access to the surfaces beneath the bath and an aesthetically pleasing finish. The train line has been restored to its former glory. Almost looks like the day we got sign off. Click here to watch that video. The concrete around the post is also now very dry. The post is in place and set well, but what's the harm in leaving the prop in place just to hold it up for a little bit longer while it dries that bit more. Within 7 days, it will reach enough strength that even if it took a wallop, which it might, it still won't move. And now we have a company popping in to change 6 windscreens in totals on our lorries which are for sale, because we want to ensure when people come and have a look, when in fact they start kicking the tires, and they will kick the tires, no one has any reason to complain about any small chips or any small cracks in any of the windscreens. First, you need to dismantle the sun visor and remove plastic trims from the top, bottom and pillars, then disconnect and remove the windshield wipers. All the existing glue is removed, and then the old windscreen can be pulled out with suction cups. The new windscreen is cleaned and degreased. Now this is essential to ensure the bonding capability with the primer, which is fitted on the windscreen and the contact areas on the vehicle. Then glue is fitted to the vehicle only, and suction cups used to fit the new windscreen in place. The windshield wipers, plastic trims and sun visor can now all be refitted. Drying time is around 3 to 6 hours depending on the weather, and this lorry will be able to go out on the road to its new home. We've brought all of our good tyres down from the top of the yard, and they are now down here. We've segregated them into different piles, but ensured that while in stock, they are completely organised. So we've got 3 8.5s and 3 1.5s. Anything over here is not built onto a rim, and then as we make our way over here, the ones which are built onto rims will be in this area, but they will be separated into piles dependent on their size and then whether they are fronts or rears. Once again, let's have a look at the progress of our historic traditional lamps. Showed you a couple of weeks back when they had been shot blasted and they had red oxide, and now they are painted in black, and one has a bit of yellow and one a bit of red. Those will look fantastic on our B stops here. We're just gonna have a quick clean up around the yard because tomorrow we have 900 tons going out on tippers. None of them are Ashville lorries, but of course, that is what we want for the future. We want to be a hub where hauliers and majors come in to collect material, which we offload from the train. And that's it for Wednesday. It's Thursday, and we're at the Central London Penthouse Project. We're building up the floors in the bedroom, as you saw us do previously in the living room and hallway. It's 2x2 timber fitted into the existing ply. Packers are used where need be to build up and ensure we are level. Then it's 18mm ton and groove chipboard, which is glued, slotted into each other, and then fixed into the 2x2 with 2-inch screws. Well, I did think that the yard would be a lot more busier when I got here because of the 900 ton that was going out. Thus far, 20 tons has gone out. Right, I guess I'll have to try and figure out what's going on Doesn't matter anyway, because we still needed to do the prep work in the yard, cleaning it up. And without the large volumes of traffic, the yard is looking a little bit better. There's more people coming in to look at lorries today. So more will be leaving and going to new homes. Aha! There was another request with our second entrance gate. We were asked by the operator to ensure that when the gates were open, they were secure so the wind didn't blow them and smash them into anyone or smash them into the locomotive. So we've come to have a check, and it turns out it is secure as soon as you open it. Now, to be clear, we were borrowed the key, it's not ours, and we opened it into the yard, and at no point did we step out onto the main network. But as you will see over here, the pin drops behind the slab, and just over here, we're going to drill the slab so that pin fits here as well, and then we should be good to go and maybe able to book a train in. It's too late for next week, so it'll probably be the week after now. But the prep work on the train line and the gates is going well. It's Friday and I'm in the yard. The collections did not happen yesterday, but they are happening today. We have 1,450 tonne of Type 1 booked on. We have multiple hauliers coming in to collect. And I'm happy to see it happen, because creating a rail hub where third parties come and collect is exactly what we want for the future. So let's get some lorries loaded and get them out the gate. I'm thinking of a few videos to fully explain how finance works, not the difference between finance, HP and leasing. Click here to watch a video. I already did that a long time ago. But just a video of what I've learned in the past couple of months of what a personal guarantee actually means, and how the different small print in finance agreements, how if the worst happens and it all goes wrong, how that can be interpreted and the powers that it gives funders. I'll break it down. I'll try to be as non-biased as I can, but just something to give people some knowledge, because we don't all get solicitors to read every single agreement which we sign. And sometimes, like when you're on a high and things are going extremely well and a piece of paper gets put in front of you, you just think, yeah, I'm just going to sign that. Nice. Nothing's ever going to go wrong and the future's bright. So what do you think? Does that sound like a couple of useful videos to let people know what you're actually signing up for when you require asset finance or development funding? Let me know. And now we're going to head back into Central London to the penthouse again, because of course work is flying. You saw earlier in the week we were preparing for plaster, and now the plaster is going to begin. We're going to knock up some multi-finish, and we're going to handle some of the very tricky areas, you know, that skylight in the hallway, which is going to take a little bit of time, and then the walls should be nice and straightforward.
Oh, yeah.
The Refurbishment Project pool house. I'm still a bit wounded, like a whipped dog, that it was rejected earlier in the week. However, we already have a plan. This shows the original size of the pool house in pink. What was refused was the outline in blue, which is 55% bigger than what it was. And we are proposing to go for the green outline, which is 32% bigger than it previously was. Now, we believe this is a substantial reduction. But once again, as I said earlier in the week, if you don't have any direction, you're really just stabbing in the dark. A bit of feedback, dialogue, communication, back and forth would have been appreciated. When we finalize these plans and go for a pre-app meeting, hopefully we manage to get some guidance. Can still see lorries collecting and going out. I thought it was 1,400 ton, but at the moment it's down at 600. The loads will carry on Tuesday and Monday of next week. And currently, that's it for Friday. Saturday, we're in the yard, moving around material and working on ground levels. On Monday, when third parties come in to collect material, they don't feel like their lorries are getting damaged or their drivers are going to get excessively dirty. Not that any of their drivers ever need to get out their cab when they're collecting material, because our weighbridge setup is fantastic, and in the yard, Simon communicates with the boys on radio. In case you're wondering why our traffic lights are gone on the weighbridge, it's not because Celtic took them back off us, it's because they are so busy, they had to borrow them. The MD came and saw me and he said,
Daniel, please can I borrow these? We're so busy, we don't have a lot of stock.
And I said, yes, of course. So don't be watching the weighbridge and thinking that our traffic lights were repossessed, because that is not the case. Due to the changes in the business, unfortunately, there are people within the business who have been here for a long time who we will be parting company with. And it is going to be difficult for me personally. And when you've worked closely with people over years, probably the closest comparison I can give is like when you're in secondary school with someone for 5 years, and then all of a sudden you're going to different colleges and you don't see them again. That is the process of continuous development and life, but you know, it's not easy. I will go into more detail next week, and I will share the Ashville staff who will be leaving the company and when. And if they're happy to do so, I'd like to ask them to let you guys know why, how, their decisions, because we wish them the best and everything is on good terms with an open dialogue and full communication. But you know, it doesn't make it any easier. But you can't just hold on to people for your own selfish reasons and provide them with misinformation to keep them where you need them. If somebody has goals and aspirations, as somebody that they entrust with their future for a period of their life, you have to make the right decision and inform them fully. You can't, well, some people do, but I can't make decisions in my own interest that are gonna affect people's lives. We're about to start doing all of the door frame. We're about to start doing all of the door frame. Huh?
The stars, you record them already?
Against there.
The one in the...
There's that bit. Okay. I think that covers it, you know. I think that covers. I'll do it one more time just in case. That's it. Site meeting done. I am heading back to the yard, but of course, in my absence, work continues. You know that the lift was actually meant to be here by now, innit? Let me try it. I thought the lift would be here and I could time it perfectly. I'll just do it again then, won't I? All right, cool. Where's this lift, man? No, go. No. Come on, man. I'm trying to time this. So I make out like I know what I'm doing out here. All right, 3. Come on. What floor you want? Come on, 3. You're on 3rd. All right, here we go, watch. Site meeting done. And I asked a very important question which can significantly change the price. You know. It's Tuesday morning, and we're in the arts. And it's Tuesday morning, we're in the It's Tuesday morning, we're in the yard, the sun is up, and we've began concreting around the post. It's Tuesday morning, we're in the yard, and we have made... Yeah.
You're fine. What's today, Tuesday?
Wednesday.
What?
Wednesday today.
You're rolling, yeah?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
We can push the rest by hand, George.
Yeah, I'll just push it backwards in so we can...
Backwards, yeah?
Yeah, I want to blast it off quick.
All right.
And then...
We're talking about he still drives it every day to work.
It's my daily. Check my stuff, yeah? Yes, please, George.
If we can... It's Friday, and I'm in the yard. It didn't happen yesterday, but... Oh, the mic! So annoying, man. It's Friday, and we're in the yard. It didn't happen yesterday. The pressure washer. This is just hard work, all this, isn't it? The Refurbishment Project pool house. We already have a plan. The Refurbishment Project pool house. I'm still wounded like a whipped dog that it was rejected early in the week. This is just... The refurbished we're going to need to break away the ceiling. We're going to need to... And that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 229. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click down here to see an Ashville video that you may not have seen before. And click down here for last week's episode, which was number 288.